Hello and good afternoon, good morning, and in some places, good evening. Welcome to Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks, we have an absolutely incredible show for you today. We're going to be opening up with a very serious topic that, as a content creator, I felt was incredibly important to talk about, and that is the current situation at PlayStation SIE. And again, I pulled a story from Axios.com, but this story has been run on numerous publications. And of course, it's regarding 9 women in total have claimed sexual misconduct and all kinds of different things regarding bias towards women happening at PlayStation. And listen, folks, I just want to say this right from the get-go. This is in no way, shape, or form something to be used for any kind of console war rhetoric. This is a very serious situation. This is something that you're probably not going to hear on many podcasts. I would dare say that 8 out of 10 will, just keep it regular business and do their thing. One of the reasons why I love doing this and I work so hard on the content is because when there is something important to talk about, something that it affects 50% of the populace, I like the idea that I can get and have a conversation with this community and do it in a proper manner. And that's what we're going to do to open up the show. And of course, then we're going to back end it with the other topics, one of which is Microsoft being Publisher of the Year. And that comes way of Metacritic. It's their 12th annual award. And folks, Microsoft knocked it out of the effing park last year with a total of 87.4 grade, outdueling PlayStation by quite a bit. And considering that, we at least I have talked up 2021 as being one of the best years in Xbox history and probably a decade regarding first-party releases. This just sums up that conversation. But let's get into the introductions first. And then, of course, we will get into the topics. And we'll start first with Web Dave. Brother, you're one of the newest members to this panel. We appreciate you being here each and every week. Thanks for joining us, dude.
Well, thanks for having me on again. I love being here, and this group of guys that we're with are pretty amazing, and that they've had their coffee and they're ready to go. That's awesome too. And I'm really looking forward to all the subjects we're talking about today. They are very important, and I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're here for it. I want to shout out, first of all, Ben Kenobi. Actually, if you don't know who he is, you should, because he drops incredible artwork on Twitter on a regular basis. He is one of the main artists for Double Barrel Gaming, right along with Dinero Primero, who is working on a new intro for this particular show. And we should have that hopefully in a couple of weeks. But listen, he's been under the weather, still fighting. He has like that doesn't have COVID, but he has a residual effects of it. And he's been, been giving him a tough time. I think it's called long COVID. Sucks, man. So, of course, Ben, thanks so much. He just dropped the newest overlay for X-Vlog. And you guys are going to see that next week when I sit down with King David next Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that show is rolling. I can't wait to show. Obviously, I'm reaching out to some of the biggest industry people, and I just got some confirmations. One of which comes the way of Benji Sales, who's going to be sitting down with me in April to talk about the industry on that very program. But listen, let's continue with the introductions. Crispy Bomb, the best voice in the business, and he wields a very big chainsaw gun. My brother, how you feeling?
Good morning. What's up, everybody? Xbox has no games. No, I'm just...
No, they don't. They have no games.
They have no games. They're horrible. They don't bring out any quality. Yeah. I think another narrative has been destroyed, my friend. So
yes,
good to be here.
We're actually going to get into that because I think it's worthy of a conversation that, not only does Xbox have no games, but the Game Pass is ruining the industry and all this other ridiculously.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But listen, thank you for being here as always. And, I can't wait to get into your opinions on what we're going to be talking about. But obviously, last and no way least, We got to welcome in Fuzzy Belvedere. Fuzzy, first of all, I want to congratulate you again. Last week's breakdown of Forza Horizon 7 versus Gran Turismo 7 was fantastic. I mean, and no one is better suited for that conversation than you. Welcome, man.
Thank you so much on that. And man, been busy playing, both Gran Turismo and Horizon, but man, some very, very interesting and important topics today. So can't wait to get into it. Glad to be here with you, gentlemen. And man, thank you, chat, for showing up today.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that very much. Obviously, without a chat, well, we don't really have a show and no one's listening. And we're only 6 minutes in and we have 110 people here. So I want to thank that 110 people for being here. I will make my way to, say hello to everybody, individually, which is something I enjoy doing. But I want to say a big shout out to Sith Lord, who drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, couldn't think of a better way to relax on your birthday. Yo, happy birthday, Sith Lord, brother. Hopefully you are much younger than I am. I'm going to be 52 this year. Don't be 52. You start to really break down. But listen, happy birthday, Sith Lord. Thank you for the super chat. And of course, thanks for being here as always. But listen, folks, let's get into it. In a story that I pulled from Axio, am I saying it correctly? Axios. It's Axios. I always mispronounce it.
Axio, maybe. I'm not
Axio.
sure.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Right. Well, they are reporting again with a load of other publications that PlayStation SIE is under fire for reports. Get ready for this, folks. Reports of abuse, sexual misconduct, and more. And these obviously the report that is out there for everyone to read for yourself. Which of course I will add this to the show notes so you can read the write up from Axios.com. They allege that there are women, a total of 9, described a range of behaviors across multiple U.S.-based PlayStation offices, including demeaning comments, unwelcome advances, a lack of attention paid to their work or ideas, and most frequently, a sense that it was harder for women to be promoted within the company. Now, Mary Harrington is a veteran of Sony Online Entertainment, SOE, and she has been at Sony PlayStation for more than 16 years. And she has cited a lack of women considered for senior roles during collaboration sessions. During one session, she says to the paper that only 4 women were considered for promotions compared to nearly 70 men. She described hearing comments about female candidates and their family lives that weren't made about male candidates. In 2018, she tried to email her superiors regarding bullying by men at the company, and Harrington linked it to a New York Times article about women revolting against toxic males at Nike, asking, and this is what she had to say, and I quote, "Can we address this before PlayStation has its own national news article?" Well, she was denied. And another woman cited a third-party study that found great imbalance in the terms of employee distribution in her team. And she says this: "I believe Sony is not equipped to appropriately handle toxic environments." And this comes from Kara Johnson, a former PlayStation program manager. And that's what she said in her statement. She noted also, folks, that there were a total of 10 women who left her office in Rancho Bernardo, California in the 4 months preceding her departure as a sign to her of systematic problems. And she continues with, her declaration included a letter that she shared with female employees when she left the company in January of 2021, citing repeated attempts to notify superiors about gender bias, alleged discrimination against pregnant women, and resistance from seniors men in HR to act against these accounts. Wow. I mean, listen, we have now seen and again, just to kind of bring it up, why I'm talking about this is National Women's Week, right? If it doesn't matter to you, then maybe you're looking at the world all wrong. You have a mother, you have daughters, you have girlfriends, you have wives, you have aunts. Um, you're gonna know some women that you do not want to see this happen to, and that's unfortunately a thing. And look, again, this is not me using this as a stepping stone for console war shenanigans. First of all, we don't do that on this program, and second of all, this is an important topic worthy of conversation. Now, if it's not your bag and you're here just to listen to games, then come back in 15 minutes and we're going to get into those Xbox topics that everyone knows and loves and wants to talk about. But we are talking about this right now. Now, we have seen this ravage the entire industry. It started very loudly with Ubisoft. It's made its way through Activision. It's made its way through Blizzard. Now it's wreaked its ugly head at SIE PlayStation. Now, right now, we don't hear this happening at Microsoft. Has it happened at Microsoft before? Yes, many, many years ago. But this is a much different run Microsoft, thanks to Satya Nadella and people like Phil Spencer, who do not, allow this kind of shenanigans to happen. Well, with that said, let's get into it. And Crispy, I want to go to you first on this, brother. This report is shocking. Is it surprising? No, but I think that this is the start of a revolution there at Sony SIE or PlayStation, because it usually starts with one woman, and the first woman that brought this lawsuit against a PlayStation last year. Sony just tried to have her lawsuit thrown out, and it was denied. And then, of course, now we know that 9 other women came forward. So, what are your thoughts on the report from Axios? Is it concerning?
I mean, anybody should be concerned. This is just, it's crazy because, it was like Ubisoft and it's just like all these big companies. And, the one thing I know is that Microsoft learned from this a long time ago. They had accusations, not quite the same, but, they kind of changed the culture a while ago. And that's why you look at the Activision deal and you're like, oh, they can probably help them, clean up their act, to say. I just, it's one of those things, like, nobody is saying that it's, not factual, so you got to run with it. And yeah, I mean, they got some things to work on, and hopefully they take it seriously. It sounds like they're kind of trying to sweep it under the rug, and at the end of the day, women in gaming is extremely important, and continues to be treated like an afterthought, which is just sad. And
Yeah,
I hope Sony really thinks about this and implements some changes. Especially, it sounds like the senior people in the company need some retraining at the least.
Yeah, no, I mean, great points. And like I said, this is something that isn't going to go away. This is something that is going to be brought up in conversations around the industry, because yes, it is a problem. As a matter of fact, it's funny because I had a conversation with Mrs. Boomstick at the beginning of the week, and of course, on Tuesday, I wished her a happy Women's Day. And even though she appreciated it from me, she says, honestly, in this world, women are still overlooked for pay, for status quo, and that needs to change. And the only way that's going to change is if we talk about it, whether it be on this podcast or even in your private lives. Let's go to Fuzzy Belvedere next on this. Fuzzy, this is something that I found incredibly important to open up today's show, because it is a serious subject. It continues to be the topic of discussion. And considering that in the gaming industry that we cover as content creators, we have now seen this sweep through. And it's, look, Ubisoft is huge, Activision is huge, Blizzard is huge, but the one that stands out, and I'm very, very surprised by this, is PlayStation proper. And they are just as big, potentially bigger than the 3 publishers we just talked about. And like Crispy just said, they attempted to sweep this under the rug.
Yeah.
And now it has made world headlines, and they're not going to be able to get away with doing that. What are your thoughts on this? How soon does this change need to happen at PlayStation?
It needs to happen as soon as possible. It's disturbing that they tried or attempted to have her the one IT representative case thrown out,
Yes.
and that's what kind of opened up the I wouldn't say the floodgates, but it opened up more of the accusations as far as other women that have either had complaints earlier or that have been dismissed or have left the company due to previous harassment. So anytime you try to sweep things under the rug, you usually wind up tipping over a jar of more complaints. And it seems like that's one of the things that's happened. And hopefully that kind of forces their hand to make the corrective actions that they need to make, whether it's whole school change within the management group, or retraining, or sanctions against some of the employees that are guilty of these wrongdoings. They need to work on this, and it's something that, given that you're a public company and you're appealing to a wide customer base, you want to make sure your house is in order, and not trying to kind of push things aside, so that way you can keep or save face, I guess, in the public spotlight. But I think the big thing now is they need to, I guess, look at the HR representatives, because some of the things that were documented in that report show that there were HR reps that kind of ignored things, or were like, oh, well, it's just this particular individual complaining. It doesn't seem widespread, but yet, one department may not know what the other department's going through. And it seems like it's, I wouldn't say how systematic of a problem it is, but it's definitely to the point where, as I've experienced it in the workplace and seen, firsthand, some of the women at the office or at the company I worked for before go through similar issues, where it's like, okay, paternity leave, things like that, sometimes getting overlooked for promotions because, oh, well, the potential they may be away from the office for a certain amount of weeks. And it shouldn't really be a factor, especially now, considering, a lot of things can be done remotely and such. And even beyond that, there's other factors where males can take sick leave or other issues along that lines. But yeah, it's something that needs to be fixed. If it has to be settled in the courts, then so be it. But I think for Sony, their better bet is to kind of fix their own house before it gets into court, because if any more info comes out, then it'll be something as hellacious as what Activision tried to cover up and how the state of California wound up suing them. So it's probably better for them to try to get this resolved in house before it goes any further. But I think they may have stepped on the wrong person at this point. But that's all I have at this point. I just want to see this get resolved, and these cases be heard and go forward from there. But it's something that all companies should work towards correcting.
I absolutely agree. I don't think I could have put it any better, to be quite honest with you. I think that was a great way to break it down. Web Dave, let's get your final opinion on it, and let's get into actual game talk, which is what the 200 plus people that are here are ready to talk about. But again, this is something that is not going to go away. You're not going to be able to bury your head in the sand and forget that it exists. And I want to get your opinion on it. What change needs to come to PlayStation? How soon does that change has to happen?
Well, it needs to happen, or needs to have happened already.
Yeah.
It really is sad that in today's climate, that this kind of thing hasn't been addressed. I'm lucky I work for a company that has addressed this like several years ago, and in a big way, and made a lot of important changes to our community. But the thing that probably it's almost like it's mind-boggling that this kind of thing happens, but that there is she actually, the main lady that was cited in the interview, she made several different outreaches to the company ahead of time to basically for them to get ahead of this or for them to make changes, and they ignored that.
Yes,
And brought it to their attention.
I'm glad you brought that up. Please elaborate on that, because this wasn't like, this isn't a money grab. This
Right.
isn't someone trying to steal the dollars away from Sony. This is a problem that has been going on, that has been ignored, and now it took a very courageous woman who was literally standing alone. Right, she was alone when she did this, and she was alone for over a year. Right, and now we're starting to see that her courage to speak out against this big, ginormous conglomerate known as SIE PlayStation, that she can now, what she was saying makes someone is going to be listening. And now you had 9 other women come forward, and it's not going to be the end of it.
No, not at all. I really think that there's probably a lot more that, especially now that hopefully they'll feel empowered to come out as they should, to bring out the egregious acts that have been either assaulted on them or have been kept down because of. And she has been with the company for over 15 years. Obviously, she enjoyed working for the company and had a lot of respect for the company, and was calling out, "Hey, we need to fix this. Hey, we need to fix this." I noticed this. This is something you can do about it. I guess when she's in a meeting of like, I was like 500 or executives that were like talking about promotions and stuff, and only 4 women out of that were.
Yeah, it was a total. It was for the amount of people that they were looking to promote. It was 4 women versus 70 men.
Oh, 70. Okay, well, sorry, my numbers were a little off there.
No, that's fine.
But still, that's a huge deficit.
Yes,
huge, and it's I don't know. It's just, it seems it's not that anybody as far as a company deserves this, but it's like they had ample opportunities to get ahead of this. They dropped the ball numerous times, and maybe some of the people that were shoving it back or shoving it down were the people that were in power, that were not that this would come at them if they acknowledged it. So maybe that's going to be something else telling, that hopefully whoever skirted this under will get looked at pretty highly, I hope. So that's kind of all I have to say about it. I'm really glad that she's getting her due now, and
Yes,
and clearly think that
Great
this
point.
is something that needs to be brought out at every company, not just Sony.
Right, well, you know what? That's another fantastic point. And I want to bring Dreadpool into the conversation momentarily. But before we get Dreadpool in on this final comment, and then we move on to the gaming aspect of the show, Drawn TJ drops a $2 super chat and says, "Morning, guys. Going to be listening at work." Well, dude, that's awesome. Hopefully you will enjoy yourself and make this 2-hour show will pass 2 hours quickly of how long you got to be there. My very good brother, Kay Asante, drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, "Happy Women's Week indeed, sir." He says, "This is unacceptable, and we should all be outraged on behalf of our friends, sisters, wives, daughters, and mothers. Salute to the panel for tackling this topic." Well, thank you. And again, I just had a wonderful conversation with Kay Asante, and he said the nicest thing to me regarding some of the topics that this show on this channel specifically cover when others don't. So I'm, again, that was a private conversation, which will stay private, but it was very, very heartwarming.
Amen,
and
Kay
extremely
Asante.
appreciated. Yeah,
Good call out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And King One Supreme. Whoa, he says, "Greetings from Tanzania. I'm a New Yorker on vacation watching the show after napping, adjusting to the 30 hours of travel. You all have a great weekend." Well, first of all, brother, thank you so much. Welcome, obviously, from New Rochelle, New York. Thank you for the generous $5 super chat. And of course, enjoy the heck out of your vacations once you get over the jet lag, because 30 hours travel, gee whiz, that is a lot. Remember, like I did not Die Hard, grip the toes on the rug. It works. It actually does work. But Dreadpool, first of all, brother, welcome back to the program. Before you tackle the topic, what have you had for breakfast? That's what everybody wants to know. Dreadpool is muted.
Yes.
There you go.
I cheated this week. I went to that HEE place and had the best biscuits and gravy that they serve.
Oh, nice, dude.
So yeah, sometimes you got to cheat like that. You know how it is. But it is my
Uh-oh.
lunchtime, so it's I can do this.
Okay, all right, there you go.
So we'll leave it at that. How's that? So yeah. Let's get into this part, right? It's outrageous, that this is still happening. That companies are ignoring it. I mean, even the company that I work for is worldwide.
Yeah.
It's not just international. It's beyond that, and we have such protocols against all this stuff. I've seen stupid comments get not thrown under the bus, get the guy thrown under the bus, okay, over something stupid and silly that they should have, I don't know, thought twice about. And it's like, would you have wanted this to have been said to your mother or your daughter?
Yes, your daughter. Yes,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Your sister, just like Asante said. It doesn't make any sense. The biggest thing is, and I think it's not just the fact that it's women, that it's all about women. It's the biggest thing is that it's the fact that we cannot treat each other as human beings.
Thank you.
And it just makes it worse that it's women that are trying to establish themselves, that are trying to just get along with life, and they have to deal with this. And it's either shut up and deal with it and move on, or you speak up and nobody believes you, or you know what I mean. So it's like you have all this thing. Just treat each other as human beings. It doesn't matter color, background,
Indeed.
race, any of this stuff. None of this stuff matters. Just be nice to each other, or as Bill and Ted say, be excellent to each other. But that's the most important thing. They didn't even listen. Nobody even listened to say, hey, you know what? I ran into this experience and I kept my mouth shut, or I saw this from somebody. So, and this lady had to sit there for a year that nobody listened, nobody acknowledged, she gave them time, ample time to take care of this, and nobody else did until it became an issue that was much bigger than just shut her up. So we have to all do our part. I'm not trying to preach, but at the same time, come on, we all have to take care of each other. So
you know what? Being silent is one of the biggest problems, because people don't want to make waves. People don't want to to get the finger pointed. Look, this person here. You know what? Don't worry about getting the finger pointed at you. If you see this kind of stuff happening, do something about it. Now, I get it's super easy to say that, because obviously people that say, they'll tell you, well, boom, I got to pay my bills. I can't make waves. And I hear you. But you know what? There are limitations. And if you do see this kind of stuff happening, I'm sorry. Maybe it's the ex-law enforcement guy in me. I can't stand by. I even if I'd lost my job over it, I would do something. But that's just me.
And that's what happened recently too with my company, with one of these idiots speaking out of their belt. Let's put it that way, saying stupid stuff, right? And somebody actually spoke up, all right, and it was a male that actually spoke up about this, and he went in silently and kind of anonymously to the rest of the company, but he went to HR. I know because I was told about what he had done, and then the shitstorm happened. So, yet again, just because you think you can't say it because you want to be silent, doesn't mean you can't just go off to the side, talk to somebody, and keep it anonymous as much as possible until it happens. This guy still has no idea who ratted him out. Just saying.
But
just
you know what?
You
That's fine.
want to keep silent.
Don't be a d-bag.
Well, that's the whole thing. If you don't do it, you don't have to worry about it. But that's part of the thing is, don't think you can't say nothing because you're going to get in trouble. Right. You just got to find the right person. I mean, we know the whole Activision with the HR guy, so that's a different story here. but still, you can say something. You just got to know who to speak to. That's all it is. So let's carry on.
Yeah, and with that, folks, we're going to move on to one of the main topics of the show, and this is the one that I think a lot of people have tuned in. Folks, we have almost 260 people here. I want to thank you so much for coming out and supporting Double Barrel Gaming, supporting these content creators that are part of this show. I want to shout out Splendiferous, drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "This is why I love this show, not scared to call out BS." And thank you for that comment, brother, and thank you for the generosity. We definitely appreciate that. And Zatanna Bathory drops a very generous $5 super chat. And Zantana, welcome to the program. She says this after dropping a $5 super chat: "As a female gamer, when Phil tweets about the women in gaming, it's empowering and an amazing thing to see the CEO of Xbox supporting women." Indeed.
Definitely.
I know she said a chat. She said something else in the chat. Phil Spencer always talks about his two daughters. Could you imagine him not doing something if that happened to his daughters, right? So he wouldn't want that to happen. So that's why he's probably so forward thinking when it comes to having women have equal pay and equal positions within Microsoft. And obviously, this is not the first time we've said this. Microsoft is the number one place in the entire world to work. It's the highest reviewed when talking with employees. So there's a reason for that. And that change we saw came when Satya Nadella took over. And it's been, listen, they're not without their problems. And I'm sure that some of this stuff may have happened that we didn't know about, but they are very forward thinking when it comes to not letting these things get out of control. So good on Microsoft and PlayStation, SIE. I think this is something we're going to be hearing about for quite some time. And like I said, it started with the one the one female that stood up against the entire company. And now we have 9 other women coming forward. I don't think that is going to be the end of this. I think that you're going to see more women who were afraid, for both former and current employees, come forward. Because again, this industry, you don't want to get blackballed. And you don't want to be known as a rebel rouser and a troublemaker. And that's how these companies win. They beat down the little person. So I am thrilled to see companies like Activision and like Blizzard and Ubisoft is another one. They don't seem that they want to make change over there. They're the ones that seem to be stuck in the old ways. And the only way that changes is people at the top. So let's hope that it doesn't take Sony too long or PlayStation to rectify these problems. But I have a feeling, again, folks, this is not the last time we are going to hear about this. So expect more. So let's get right into why everyone has tuned in, folks. This week we learned that Microsoft has been given the award from Metacritic for their Game Publisher of the Year, and that is a big deal. I hear, I don't know, is anyone hearing an echo? Because I'm hearing a really bad echo. I don't know if somebody is listening.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's I don't
It's
know.
not me. I'm muted.
Yeah, Dredd, do me a favor, brother. It happened yesterday. Check your settings because it sounds like exactly what we dealt with last week.
Woohoo!
But listen, let's move on to, of course, again, the topic that we're excited to talk about. Microsoft, who has been, and Crispy, I'm going to go to you first on this because, for many years, as you've been a part of this podcast, we have learned a lot of things from this community and from the gaming media, for that matter. And Microsoft has always been known as the subpar first-party company, right? Xbox doesn't make big meta games. Xbox doesn't have games. Microsoft has been was going to ruin the industry with Xbox Game Pass. All of these tropes are some things that we dealt with, and it turns out that the number one publisher in 2021 is Xbox Game Studios with an average of 87.4. Now, if you want to compare to where they were in 2020, well, they were in 6th place in 2020. They moved up 5 slots, outdueling Sony, who comes in at a mere 81.3, followed by Humble Games at 80.9, Activision Blizzard at 80.6, and Bethesda Softworks 80.2. And what's interesting in these lists that comes the way of Metacritic, they own or will own 3 of the 5 that are listed there. That is bonkers. But I want to get you. You've been one of the most vocal people about this particular topic, and I want you to take the ball and run with it. What are your thoughts on this? And again, this is the 12th annual. A lot of people are like, yeah, Metacritic, whatever. It's their 12th annual. Apparently, it is a big deal. And Metacritic is still regarded to be. I think they need to make change over there for sure. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the truth, but this is a coveted award. What are your thoughts on Microsoft outdueling Sony by over 6 points on average when it comes to reviews?
Well, nobody could say there's media bias anymore. Nobody could say that, Metacritic doesn't matter, but at the same time, you have to take it with a grain of salt and say, okay, if I'm interested in this game, is this the right way to go about it to see if, I'm going to like it? Me personally, I go off of, some of my favorite content creators, you know what I mean, to see if I'm going to like the game. Generally they have similar preferences and how you're going to game. But besides that, it is quite funny that even if you included Bethesda and Activision, you're still at 82.7. So regardless if they were shown under all the same umbrella for last year, you would still be the number one. So that's interesting in itself. You wouldn't think that Activision would be as high as it is, but they do bring out some quality games. So, you could kind of throw that to the curb as well. I mean, there's literally, this statement has just destroyed so many narratives. It's quite entertaining. I'm still one of them people that's like, hey, I could like a game that's a 60 meta and it could be great to me. But if you think about all the games that have come out and to have such a high average score for Xbox publishing is pretty crazy. So many different games as well. We're not talking, games that really people thought were going to be as good as they have been. And then you look at, having 390 plus games, which is hard to do in itself just to have one. So, I mean, last year was awesome. And, who knows what's coming this year? I mean, I think there's something that they're kind of not talking about. And I think we're going to find out, and it could just add to what's already coming, which I think Starfield is probably going to be a huge one. And,
it's funny. It's funny you say that because a lot of people have been banging the drum. Oh, Xbox is going to have a quiet year. Well, let's break down to your comment. They're going to have a quiet front part of the year, right? They have Redfall coming out. They have Starfield coming out. Deathloop, even though it came out on the PlayStation last year, is a new game for Xbox. And Forza Motorsport. That's four AAA developed first-party games. Now, I would love for them to come one per quarter. It appears that we're probably going to have like 4 months of back-to-back games, right? October might be the month where we see Forza. Maybe Forza is September, right? We know that Starfield is in November. We know that come the summer, I believe Redfall is supposed to be in the summer, maybe June, maybe July, maybe even August. And of course, Deathloop is going to come out probably closer to the fall when it released last year, because they had the PlayStation had the year exclusive on it because of the contracts that Microsoft honored. That's not a bad freaking year. Now, I know that they don't have. Some people may say, well, they don't have an Horizon. Well, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. As a diehard Horizon fan, I wouldn't be toting that, because Horizon is still a buggy mess. So much so that I didn't play it. I put 8 hours in, and I was like, I fed up with it. As a matter of fact, my brother Neo Mental just beat it, and he said it was very forgettable. So much so that he would rate it a 7 out of 10 because of the bugs. Welcome back, Dreadpool. Thanks for resetting your mic, brother. We're going to come to you momentarily, but continue on with your comments there, Crispy Bomb.
Well, and if you look at it, the way Xbox seems to be doing it is they're going to back end around the holiday season. I mean, it's logical because, you know, regardless of, you know, having extra spending money, people break out all the stops generally, no matter what, especially for the children and their significant others. You know what I mean? So even if the credit card comes out, they're buying it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that, you know, Xbox continue that you want to sell more and more consoles. You want to sell people on Game Pass, and the best way to do it is when all eyes are on gaming console during that period of time. Now, that's not to say Sony's strategy is similar, because most people are getting tax returns this time of year. So you have that extra money.
Yep.
And then
you're willing to spend.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, both strategies can work. I just, you know, I still, and you got to understand, we were supposed to have like Stalker come out and a few other games that have been delayed. You know what I mean? You're going to get a Plague's Tale Requiem at some point. So you got a lot of backfill games that, you know, not necessarily are totally first party, but I call them second party. You know, you got a lot of games that, you know, some people are like, whatever. But if you look at the block that Sony just did, they just made a huge mistake. So, you know, it also comes down to Xbox isn't going to have like a certain game that's going to be like Elden Ring to them during the end of the year. So, you know, it could have been their strategy, like, let's just stay away from this Elden Ring thing. And it seems to be the smarter move at this point. So definitely looking forward to, you know, a possible little, you know, shadow drop or announcement, you know, coming up on E3 or their showcase, whatever they're going to, you know, call it at this point. And just it's going to be a wild year, and I think next year is the year where you're going to get almost monthly releases, and you know, like we saw with Guardians of the Galaxy, they can backfill with some big games, man, and just get them in there, and you know, people say, well, you know, this is why I pay this $15 a month, and it's value at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and that is going to be a conversation that we're going to continue to have, because those 4 games that I just mentioned, Game Pass, day and date. Again, I know people are, well, I'm so sick of hearing about Game Pass. Well, you shouldn't, because it is the best thing in gaming. Dreadpool, let's bring you in on the conversation here. You know, Microsoft, for many years, and you've been on this podcast for quite some time. You've been on other podcasts. You're on with Wilmy Hood on Wednesdays on Gaming Beyond the Box, and the conversation has come up numerous times. Microsoft has no games. Microsoft's meta is 60. Right? You're never going to get AAA quality and high meta rated games from Microsoft, because, you know, Game Pass is just, you know, fodder. We have to fill that with fodder so people could just say they have a lot of games, but not great games. Well, that all gets thrown into the wash, so to speak, with this new award that they got from Metacritic as being the #1 publisher when it comes to scores at 87.4. What are your thoughts to the people that have been banging the Xbox has no games and does not have quality meta-rated titles?
Well, I guess that goalpost got a little heavier than they can move it.
Yes, it sure did.
But yeah, it's just, you know, they're the same people. Xbox got no games. Xbox on Monopoly now. It's, you know, these are just numbers. These are numbers on opinions. You know, when a doctor says, how much pain out of 1 to 10, what do you feel? And you say 11, 12, 20. You know, it's 1 out of 10. How much do you feel? You know, so it's. When it comes to this, yes, Metacritic is supposed to be the average, so you know this stuff. But when you have the warriors out there fighting for the good cause, you remember when Link was a 10 all the way across, and someone just gave it a 1 just because with Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. So same scenario. That all this stuff. That's why I don't put too much count on these numbers. But at the same time, you still have to use it as a guide. And if you look at the guide, okay, well, so for not having games, they're doing pretty damn well.
Indeed, they are.
You know, so it's just that's why I don't like giving scores to games. It's either yes, no, or just wait on it.
Some of the way that I think, like I like the way ACG does it. Like his method of doing it is I mean, people like scores. That's the reality. People love
Yes.
scores, and they go. Sometimes you could do an entire review and write a review, and people they skip all the hard work and go right down to the bottom. And I hear what you're saying. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's a quick, easy number for people just to look at it and rationalize and move on. I just had to bring up the whole toxic side of those numbers.
Yeah, no,
but just to keep it relevant, because we can't just ignore it because there's more to it, and at the same time, it's like if you're going to justify everything by numbers, well, here's your numbers. How are you going to backtrack? Because everything was justified before. So it's good to see companies turn around and do much better. And if I recall in the private chat, we also was it Crispy I think mentioned. Collectively, if you add Activision and ZeniMax, they still scored above 82.
Yeah.
So even with all the bad stuff, collectively getting brought down, they're still above. So yet again, hey, it's a good thing. It's good that we have competition, right? And that's what we want. We want competition, so that way they make better games. They listen to us and say, "Oh, this isn't right. This, we gotta do better. We gotta do this. We gotta provide this type of game." So they have to hear us and do what we want as the way we look at things and enjoy these games. So obviously they should make their game the way they see fit, but they need to put in those little minute details that make the game that special little pearl that it is. You know what I mean? For instance, the game we're watching now. This is the game that nobody wanted to play. That
this is also a game that nobody wants to talk about, because whenever I do, people get mad in the chat.
Yeah, but that's why I didn't mention the name. But you know what I mean. It's like it's one of those things that they did something right and it deserved the praise. And that's really what the numbers are about, is the praise on whether or not you should play this game if it's for you. That's why these reviews are there, is to help you decide. They're not the end all be all. Just because somebody says, "Hey, I don't like this game," doesn't mean the game's not for you. We got to try them out. We got to understand. And as we grow, not just in age, as people, some of these games were not for us in the first place. And we end up playing other games. And if you look at a game, because back in the day we didn't have that kind of money, and it was only 1 or 2 games per year, so you had to figure out what number was a good number that you would survive on for the next 6 months before you got another game, because that game had to happen. And if it wasn't good enough, you figured out what to do.
You were in trouble. Yeah, dude.
Now we have so much of a plethora of gaming choices that we can have and play and experience. Those numbers don't mean as much that people put credit to them. What means more is finding like-minded people and understanding why their numbers are what they are and figuring out if it's for you. And that's really where it is. So, but either way, kudos to someone having no games and still having a high meta score.
Yeah, it's listen. What's important about this conversation is that 2021 was the jumping point. I think when we're going to look back at this generation, we're going to look at 2021 and say, "Holy crap, that is where Microsoft took it to the next level. It was the start of something great." Like I said, 2022 isn't as stacked as 2021, but it still has a significant amount of great games. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get your opinion on this, brother. This is a monstrous award for Microsoft. This is a big deal for Xbox Game Studios, and this is just the beginning. And I have a strong suspicion that the 4 games that are coming out could potentially move Microsoft into first place again next year. Starfield is expected to be a high 90 meta. Forza Motorsport is expected to be a high 90 meta. We can expect that the same reviews may be even higher for Deathloop. And no one's going to give it a lower score. It's because it's going to look as good, potentially better than it did on the PlayStation. So there'd be no reason for it to get a lower score. That game was many people's games of the year. That's another high 90 meta game.
Mhm.
And Redfall, at this point, we don't know. We've seen some early screenshots. It's a Bethesda game. It's probably going to be an incredible game. What if all 4 of those games are 90 metas, and then we're looking at Microsoft being in first place before the Covenant 2023, where it's the shit is going to hit the fan, so to speak? What are your thoughts on this big win for them?
Well, I also think, and I might be wrong on this, Grounded hasn't gone through its full release, and I don't think
No,
it's
it has
gotten a
not
meta
as
score
of yet.
either.
That is correct.
And
Yes.
it's had a fairly decent player base, as well as, well received amongst those that are playing it currently. So I think once that even releases, that's going to be at least in the high 80s, I would say, if not better. I think for 2022, they stand a really good chance of taking that award again. It's awesome to see Microsoft go from the narrative of having no games to having all the games and being a monopoly, and then along the way getting a handful of awards and nominations throughout the year and stuff. So it's awesome when you have kind of like what Dreadpool was saying. It's awesome for them to compete. It's awesome to see the roadmap that they've kind of laid out from when we were as Xbox fans looking at them sideways in 2017, where it's like, where are the games? And it's like, all right, we got a couple of studios. It's like, okay, all right, you released your normal, main tentpole franchises, but when's the floodgates going to open? And now we're starting to see, in probably 2023 will be even more of a floodgate opening type of thing. But just in general, it I think people are starting to realize you can't badmouth and belittle a company for so long and then expect them to continuously be the whipping boy, I guess, for years to come. They're going to take that criticism on the chin, and then they're going to go back and they're going to fix things, or they're going to go back and work with their dev teams and the software that they're using, the engines that they have, and make for better experiences for us gamers. So I think all the criticism that they've taken the past 5 or 10 years or so is paid off now, in the sense of much better games that they're presenting, a lot more accessibility, a lot more like improved visuals. The hardware is up to par. Well, even with the Xbox One X, the hardware was up to par, but now it's even more so, where we're able to have RDNA 2 uh, features incorporated in the games, and a lot of that stuff is rolled into their stack, their game stack stuff. So it's awesome to see them improve so greatly over this past couple of years, and to take the top publisher for 2021, even with the one already owned publisher that they have under their belt, and another one that they're going to more than likely seal the deal with the ink on the paper in a few months, 6 months or so, or less, hopefully. It's great to see, and I look forward to them taking that top honor, or at least fighting for that top honor for 2022. But it's awesome to see, and a lot of awesome games to enjoy, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and great points all around. Web Dave, let's get your opinion on this. Big win for Microsoft. This is a prelude of what is expected in the future come 2023, 2024, 2025. 2022, not going to be a slouch by any stretch of the truth. Could we see Microsoft consistently being the number one publisher in gaming if they continue the quality, which it looks like they are?
I definitely think that they can maintain this, especially with all the stuff that they've got coming out, all the games coming out, not to mention, the big rumors of some big surprises coming in the next couple of months, that things that, we don't even know about yet that are definitely going to, I think, propel them up the ladder, as it were, with a lot of content. And look forward to that. But I think that where they're at around the rankings is well deserved. They have a lot of great product out there. I mean, obviously with games like Elden Ring, which I have to say, watching this while talking on the show, it makes me want to go play right now. I also I have to talk to you later about this ball going off the cliff and getting a good experience for that. We're gonna have to talk about that. Where
I'll send you the video, brother. All you gotta do is crack one of those crow feet, the gold ones that give you extra XP, and you can farm away.
All right. We'll run that later. Sorry, but distraction. but no, I mean, there's scores. Like you said, with the games that they've got coming out now, it's I don't see the ball stopping for them as far as this momentum, and everybody's going to have a game here or there that doesn't quite hit for everybody, but right now they're consistently bringing out the games that players want to play, all players, not just Sony players, Microsoft players. I mean, these are gamers want to play these games, so that's what's important, and I think they're focused, it's clear now that Phil's presence at Microsoft is really taking the company in the right direction, and right now I see it going to the light and not down a dark path. I think I think we're going to see them at the top, if not the first place, probably for the next couple of years at least.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think this is the prelude to something very special. If you are a diehard Xbox gamer, there is a load to get excited about, and quite frankly, what could you possibly say other than this is what we've all been expecting. This is all what we've been waiting for. This is the reason why Phil Spencer was promoted in 2017. He was then again re-promoted in 2018 to be the right hand of Satya Nadella. And now recently with the announcement of Xbox or Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard, he is now the head of Microsoft Gaming. And, again, we talked about the ship being turned around and how difficult that is to do. Well, Phil has done that, and he's done it to great succession. And I'm thrilled. Like I said, I support all three consoles. I'm happy to play on my Switch. I'm happy to play on my PlayStation 5 when there's something to play. But for me, I'm an Xbox dude. Like I'll play any third party on Xbox first. I have double dipped, like all of the Resident Evils. I've purchased twice because I love the series and I don't mind getting achievements and trophies on a game that I'm going to play through. And that happened with Resident Evil 2 Remake, 3 Remake, and 7 and 8. I don't mind it, but for me, I'm an Xbox dude first, and I'm just, listen, I'm just quite enjoying it. But listen, folks, we're only an hour in, and we've already talked about one of the major topics. I do want to bring up another topic. This one over here is, I don't know. I mean, should we feel a type of way? I don't know, but we're going to get into it right now. It was reported by numerous sites, but I particularly pulled this article from our good friends over at the videogameschronicle.com, which themselves won an award this year for being one of the best publications for gaming news in their professionalism last year for 2021. So a big shout out to the staff over at VGC. They are reporting that Grand Theft Auto 5, and yes, we're talking about Grand Theft Auto 5 again, is being released as a next gen for obviously the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. But this is where the conundrum, the head-scratching moment comes, folks, because for a limited time, the PlayStation 5 upgrade, if you own it, is only $10. And I say only because the Xbox Series X and S version is $20. So if you go to your store right now, you can see it that on the PlayStation, it's discounted at 75%. Whereas if you go to the Xbox store, it is discounted only at 50%. I don't understand why this is. I don't understand how this happened. I don't know why. What's the difference? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that Sony somehow money hatted this once again, like they are notoriously known for doing. But first of all, I'm not buying Grand Theft Auto 5 again. I don't care how good it looks. I don't care how many people are on the streets. I don't care how many visual fidelity In fact, you know what? Let me read you, folks, if you're interested, because there might be some people that actually never bought this game. So if you are someone that has been holding off since 2013 to buy the 2022 edition of Grand Theft Auto that has sold a bazillion copies, here is this is directly from the Rockstar PR, and this is what the press release has to say. These new versions offer across the board improvements, including faster loading times, increased population and traffic variety, increased vegetation density, improved lighting quality across shadows, water reflections, and other elements, plus improved anti-aliasing motion blur, highly detailed new explosions, fire, and much more. They continue. There's also new levels of responsiveness for haptic feedback and dynamic resistance via the adaptive triggers in the PlayStation 5's DualSense wireless controller, adding new sensation to weather effects, directional damage, rough road surfaces, explosions, and much more. Platform-specific features also include, and this is where Microsoft was thrown under the bus here, they have specifically for the PlayStation 5 using immersive audio, Tempest 3D sound, positional audio on the PlayStation 5, and spatial audio only on the Xbox Series X and S. So, I mean, look, again, not trying to make this into a console war thing, but they have made this game specifically better for PlayStation than Xbox, just based on the press release. I didn't write that. Someone from Rockstar did, so I'm reading it for you. I call bullshit, as always, when it comes to this kind of stuff. Personally, for me, I wasn't buying Grand Theft Auto 5 again. I think that we should get the upgrade for free. I bought it in 2013. We bought it for the Xbox One again, and I wasn't able to transfer over my save, even though I was close to the end on the 360 version. I couldn't transfer that save over because, well, Rockstar sucks sometimes, and now I have no ambition, want, or otherwise to go out and give Rockstar or 2K any of my money, whether it be $10 or $20. Let's get the panel's opinion, and we'll start first with Crispy Bond. Crispy, you're probably going to be the more vocal about this. It appears, based on the press release, that the Sony PlayStation version was overdeveloped for, whereas Microsoft's Xbox Series X and S version seemed to be like, hey, we're going to give you some new things, but just not as many new things on the PlayStation version. And on top of that kick to the balls, if you are an Xbox only player, you now have to pay double what someone on a PlayStation 5 is paying. What is your thoughts?
I don't get it. I don't get why they would have two different prices, regardless of whatever's going on. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I mean, this is what they do. They do some wild stuff over there at Take-Two Rockstar. Like, why is this game coming out again? Please explain this to me. And
that's a great question, dude.
Worst part is that I'm one of the very few people that have not played this game. I GTA'd out a long time ago. If you were going to get me to buy something, you should have made Vice City actually look better. That maybe I would have bought that package, but that's because of Vice City, and that's like pulling at the heartstrings. But man, it didn't look much better than what I played back in the day. So I was like, nah, I'm good with that. They somehow have squeezed the lemon until it's dust, and it's so bad now that they decide that they're going to change, a price for one console to another. It's the same game coming out technically. Okay, why are you charging $10 more? It just, I don't know where they get their mentality from. Is it just a big middle finger to Xbox? Okay. Do I really care at the end of the day? No, I don't. But it's still, it just, I don't understand. It's $10. Why not sell them both for 20 or sell them both for 10? It makes absolutely no sense to me.
It's ridiculous. To be honest with you, I don't understand how this continues to happen. But what are you going to do? Again, you said it. Why release this game again? Because 2K released a terrible and horrible money grabbing trilogy that was basically developed by, and we got the mobile version of Grand Theft Auto 3, 4, and Vice City. And it reviewed poorly. I don't know if it's even barely working. And now we see this. This is all because Rockstar is, I don't want to say they're dragging their feet. I think that when they lost one of the founders of Rockstar, I think Grand Theft Auto 6 at its core at the time when Dan left the company took a major hit. And I think that there's a good shot that game might not be as good as past ones, but this is clearly a money grab. And I say to you, the gamer, we have 337 people here on a Friday morning. Don't buy into this bullshit. It is ridiculous. It is, again, we see this with Sony. And every time a new old game comes out, they want you to pay $10. Remember, I had talked about a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about getting the Nathan Drake stuff. I'm not giving Sony $10. I'm just not. I'm just not doing it, because if I do that, I become a part of the problem, and I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah. And,
so
don't do that. If I could add one more thing,
please, by all means, go crazy.
It's one of those things that I question a company at this point. Are you using your developers for what needs to be, like maybe making GTA 6? Instead, you're continuing to milk this cow until no end, almost like Activision with Call of Duty might not be the best idea. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, you're onto something for sure. I don't know. I mean, again, we can roll around in circles all day long and figure it out, Crispy. But listen, let's get to the rest of the panel. Dreadpool, you want to jump in on this, brother?
Oh, hell yeah, I do.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. Again, this is clearly a money grab. Again, this game launched, if you didn't know, on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 back in 2013. It was then re-released with an upgraded version that we all had to go out and buy for, at that point, $60 on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. And then, of course, many, many years later, instead of giving us GTA 6, which is what we've all been waiting for, we are now asked once again to pay $40 for and again, at least it's not a full price. It's $40. But again, Crispy said it perfectly. Why is the PlayStation version $10 cheaper? I don't know.
I have an answer for you. Remember that phrase that I said last time, the last couple shows? Deceptive practices.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Here's why. I don't know if you guys caught on to this. Online is $10. The single player mode is $10. That would be your $20. But for the next 3 months, if you get it on your PlayStation 5, the online is free.
Ridiculous.
Only for the first 3 months. So this $10 is only temporary. So people need to understand that. Deceptive practices. They tricked you. Yeah, okay? Just the same as here with GTA 5. Coming out again. Okay, here's another one. And this isn't Sony. This is the publishers. They tricked you again because PC, you don't have to worry about it. It's you already have realistic graphics. You don't have to worry about it. It already launches fast. They already have all these little minute details taken care of. We have SSDs in our next gen or current gen, if you want to call it, whichever way you want to call it now. So our current gen consoles, because there are still people that haven't been able to migrate over yet because lack of. So let's just call it next gen. So you want to make us pay again for a next gen upgrade, even though PC's getting it, even though there's not much to do, even though at the same time, right? We're all running on SSDs. So this game, all you've done is made it bigger without doing much. But the SSDs are taking care of the speed of the loading. So what kind of misinformation is that? So I have to question that. You have to figure out why is this. Didn't we already talk about, hey, if my car had cruise control built in, that you're going to charge me extra for the cruise control to continue working?
Yeah.
Your controller has these
Yes.
features built in, and now you're going to charge me for this controller to utilize these features? This is ridiculous. This is yet again stuff that, and I know this isn't on Sony's part. This is on 2K's
Rockstar.
part.
Yeah, well, 2K, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Technically, it's 2K, because even though Rockstar made it, they're the ones that ultimately make that decision too. But yet, why? And even bigger question: why are we falling for it?
Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. 100%.
Exactly. But that, you know what I mean? And that's the thing is, yet again, we want to support the devs, right? We want to support this. We want to support that. We want to do the righteous thing. Well, sometimes you have to speak with your wallet. And how many times have we said that so
All the
many
time.
years ago?
Yeah.
And this is one of those things. Why is it number one still? Because people are still buying it and getting reaping the benefits out of having it again. That's attached to their account with those Mega Shark cards that come with the bigger version that's discounted at like $2. And well, no wonder it's cheaper this way. So people have figured out ways to monopolize and get their characters more money, more access to everything. Even though it's the same game that they just bought, they just figured out how to double dip and triple dip. And we're letting these publishers double dip and triple dip on us too. And that's the worst part. It should be, yet again, I mean, I don't know how many times we have to fight over it and argue about it, but it should be one of those free upgrades. You get it on PC, same thing. When it comes to graphics, you can scale that and it does not affect the game other than how it plays. The base game is still there. Nothing is altered. All you did was go in and made those graphics a little bit prettier, a little bit, I don't know, pleasant to look at. Whatever.
Yeah.
Don't fall for it, guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure the work went into it. I'm sure that it's going to look like a next gen version, but I think that if you play it on the Xbox or your PlayStation 5, I can't say the PlayStation because I don't know what they do in regards to upping the ante for graphics. I know that you're going to get that just based on the console's power for the Xbox. So, listen, again, I can't tell you how to spend your money. I can tell you that if they were both $10, then $10, maybe $10 for you because you love GTA. If that's your franchise of the universe, and you don't mind paying $10, is fine. My biggest problem here is that there's a price difference of 50%. Yeah, one is 20, one is 10. It doesn't make any sense. They're the same game. And what's interesting is you're paying cheaper on the PlayStation, but you're getting more with all of this additional development, and you're paying double on the Xbox, and you're getting less. I don't know. But yeah.
Cheaper for the next 3 months.
Yeah, for the next 3 months, for the next 90 days. I mean, that's just dumb. But let's see. We have a couple of super chats I want to get into before I bring Fuzzy Belvedere into the conversation. First one comes to us from Drawn TJ, drops an additional $2 super chat. And I guess this is in regards to the last topic. There are toxic women and men, and it's disgusting. Yeah, it's not gender specific. There are toxicity across both men and women. Unfortunately, we have to call it out when that happens. JC Colin Moreau drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "I just want the Final Fantasy IX remake. Hope that leak was true." Yeah, I know a lot of people like Final Fantasy IX. Wasn't my bag. Final Fantasy 7 was mine, and we're not getting that remake apparently ever, because that's just the way it is. Space Dovigan drops not one but two super chats. The first one of $5 is PlayStation just lost the Call of Duty image. I think this is just PlayStation securing the marketing and narrative for the next biggest third-party game. Yeah, that could very well be the case. And the second one, he says, drops a $2 super chat and says license fee. I'm not sure what that's regarding. If that's regarding GTA and I missed that, then that's even worse. But listen, let's get Fuzzy Belvedere on the conversation. Fuzzy, this is a topic that I don't know how many podcasts are going to talk about, but I thought it was important because of the price difference, and whether you have a PlayStation or an Xbox or both, and you've already played GTA 5. I don't know that we want to continue to give 2K money, basically for the same game.
Yeah, I think I've given them way too much money to begin with. Like before I went over to being primarily Xbox, I had GTA 5 on my PS3. Thought it looked great, but I noticed some discrepancies on things like the win sales and all that stuff, and that was all fixed. When it came to Xbox One and PS4, bought it also again, physically on PS3, physically on PS4, physically on Xbox One, then wound up buying them digitally. And then that carried over to the new consoles, and my kids actually, because they're 16, they play it as well, but their Series S's don't have a disc, so I had to buy it, at least for one of my sons, I had to buy it digital again, which with the shark card, it was actually cheaper buying the shark card edition than the regular version, and I think this is when they finally dropped the price for GTA 5 to around $35 or $39.99 or something like that. But if you got the shark card, it was like $19.99 or like just under $25 with tax or something like that. So it was just one of those funny deals where people seem to be rebuying this game multiple times. And me being the knucklehead I am, I also bought it on PC, figuring that'll be the last place I buy it. And it will be the last place. I'm just hoping. Now, I know Deadpool had mentioned
the next gen version.
Well, I'm not 100% sure that their like Rockstar's ray tracing will make it to the PC version. There's already like mods that you can do, but they haven't said anything as far as this expanded and improved or enhanced version making it to PC. If it does, I don't need to buy it because I'm not paying for it, and it should be an automatic thing. And if it's not an automatic thing, people will probably put it out there so you can, just add that. And no, I'm not condoning stealing, but it's one of those things where it people will eventually have the equivalent mod in the PC version. But the PC version runs and looks great now. The only thing that was a bit of a sore spot for me was it does take a while, even with an SSD. Even one of the new, PCI 4 or PCIe 4 MM or NMMV, whatever the fast ones are these days. But there was a actual modder that made it faster. And then Rockstar basically copied his code to make the game load.
Isn't that crazy that a modder did it and they didn't even? I don't think they gave him credit for that.
I think they did. It was like one of those bug report things where they used to pay $10,000 to somebody that could break the game, or if they find bugs, and then they stopped doing that because so many people found bugs. But I think they gave him like that $10,000 for the mod that allowed it to load fast.
Okay, so at least they paid for it.
But I'm not buying it on my PS5 or my Series X. The fact that the price discrepancy, Dreadpool knocked it out of the park with pointing out that I guess it's for PS Plus members or something like that. Because it was always funny that they had, like, PlayStation had, I guess, the marketing deal for GTA 5 or GTA 5. But
didn't GTA 5 at some point drop in the Game Pass, or is that me having a fever dream? Like,
no, it was in Game Pass.
Okay.
But it was like for like a few months, and then I think that was just before Red Dead originally released, just for regular sales, and then eventually Red Dead went into Game Pass as well. So there is them putting, Rockstar and Take-Two putting stuff in Game Pass, and they also put what is that, San Andreas in there when they had the trilogy out. So that
Yes.
was actually pretty cool as well. But the fact that it's that $10 savings for the PlayStation guys, even if it's for 3 months or 3 hours, even it just feels wrong, or it feels bad having that type of discrepancy. All right, fine. You want to give more GTA bucks if you log in online, because they've been doing that with GTA 5, like the last gen version, where if you logged in a certain amount of weeks, I think you got like 100,000 a month or 1 million a month or something weird. But I don't play online that much, and most of the stuff I play as far as GTA is concerned, is on PC with the mods. Just doing the role playing stuff where you're either a state trooper doing the giving speeders tickets, or truck driver making deliveries, or random things that don't pertain to the game at all. It's better on PC at that point, but I doubt they're putting any of that on this next gen version. But yeah, the fact that it's $10 more online or not, I don't. If they were actually adding to the
Look, remember that
single
guy
player
at
story,
the ball game that was like this? That's what I say to this.
No, but if they were adding to the mainline story, maybe I would give them the $20 or $10. But since they're not, it's a
Yeah,
pass.
and that's a great point. If anyone remembers the Ballad of Gay Tony, remember that DLC? I think that was for GTA 4, was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, they
That
had the
was
Lost in that one. Yeah.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That was such an. I mean, if you look back at some of the GTA campaigns that came out as DLC, that is probably one of my favorite, right? And you're right. If they were adding something new, like a new story mission, like something that we didn't play, like maybe like a director's cut. Maybe there was stuff left on the design floor that they didn't have room for at the time, that they put into the game now, and you want to charge a couple of extra bucks. I'm all in that. But my problem isn't this is the third release of the same game. It's not a fair price release.
Yeah.
One is $10, one is $20, and the one that's 10, the one that's cheaper, has better. It's a better version because of the controller and the sound. See, that to me is crummy. But with that said, I had where is it? Direct X in the chat, and I'm going to bring this to Outbreak Podcast, known as Web Dave. He says this: vegetation density and increased numbers of AI is not next gen. Rockstar is now milking console players. Obviously, he's probably a PC dude. Or dudette for that matter, and he knows that you get all of these bells and whistles with the PC. There's a reason why there's a PCMR, right? PC Master Race. Dave, what are your thoughts on this? First of all, the fact that they're releasing Grand Theft Auto 5 again, right? Which is again the third time, third generation. It's ridiculous. But what about the price difference? I know it's only $10, and people are going to be in the chat. Well, it's only $10. Big deal, Boomer. You can't afford it. I can afford $10 just fine. Why should I have to pay it? Is the question. What are your comments on before we move on to another breaking news topic that's pretty interesting?
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, listen, they've sold over 100 million copies. I don't know who hasn't bought this game yet, right. But somebody didn't.
I've got it myself, but as far as the updates, I definitely don't see is it worth adding to it? No, it's definitely not worth paying for it, especially because it's not equal. Now, I have a lot of good points with Crispy and Dread and Fuzzy that most likely it's probably, since it's in it's probably Sony worked out some kind of deal for the 3 months to try and to give them the quote unquote advantage, or at least look like you should have a PlayStation because we can get it to you cheaper. And I'm sure they paid for that, but like you said, it's not as far as the consumer goes. Me having both systems, I've got it on both systems, and I'm not paying either one of them for the upgrade. It's not gonna happen. I'll just I'll play it like it is. I mean, how much more high-end graphics or effects do you need on the game, to show blood? Let's GTA 6. Let's get that out. Let's hurry up and get that out. I also want to go back to probably get a deeper discussion on Fuzzy Belvedere's role playing and what kind of weird role play does he do in this game. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Fuzzy. I just
Love it.
calling that out there, buddy.
That's awesome. I love it. Love to hear it. Well, I mean, look, again, it is what it is. First of all, we got to welcome in our good brother, BitCloud Gaming.
Right,
What's
BitCloud.
going on, brother? Thanks so much for joining us. Listen, you happen to roll in right to the end of this particular topic. GTA 5 releasing again for the third time in the third generation. Sony's version is $10. The Xbox version is $20. What are your thoughts on this, man? Do people just need to stay away from GTA 5 already?
This sums it up for me entirely. That's just me personally, but no, looking at the game, there have been some updates. Like they did show off some screenshots of it. It does look improved, but at the same time, it's a PS3 game, for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the point of doing this at this point? Just give us GTA 6. But again, we're not gonna get that, and that kind of makes you question: are we ever going to see it this generation? You know what I mean? Are they going to just prolong that to PlayStation 6 and Xbox, whatever, name that's going to be? Because they're making a killing on GTA Online, and it's like
that's ridiculous. It's printing money, basically.
Dude, these shark cards, whatever, these little credit cards, whatever, they're just reeling it in. They even tried, you remember they tried to do that in Red Dead 2. With the gold bars, it just didn't work. It didn't translate well for them. So the fact that they're doing this, it's like, I'm staying away with that. I'm avoiding that. Like, I don't really care. Like a lot of people say it looks good. I've already played it. I mean, we've all played it. It's not like they're adding anything new to it in terms of story. They're not changing any of the decisions or anything. It would have been different if it was like legit decision based and you could alter the story in a completely different way, type of thing, where different scenarios play out, new characters are introduced, type of thing. But it's not. It's literally the same game repackaged from the PlayStation 3, just with no load times this time around, which will be nice, but we've already experienced it. And I'm not sure what's the price on this. Are they asking for full price for this?
It's $40 each, but for a limited time. Specifically, the Xbox upgrade is $20. It's 50% off right now if you go to the store. And the PlayStation 5 upgrade version is $10. It is $10 cheaper on the PlayStation 5. I'm assuming there was some sort of a deal with Sony that they made. Yeah. Also, with that, they added the updates for the 3D audio for PlayStation, and they also added a ton of haptic trigger advantages, whereas the Xbox version is just the regular version.
Until they get their haptic trigger controller,
and they will. They'll have a version of it. Maybe I don't know if it's going to be in the Elite controller or not, but
it's probably going to be the standard. But more likely, knowing them, they'll probably debut it in an Elite style one first. Just show it off, and then you'll have it be like a staple with everything else with their controllers. But I can see it.
Well, all I can say is, like, I think the sentiment from everybody is don't buy Grand Theft Auto 5 again because it's ridiculous at this point. But listen,
I mean, people are gonna buy it. That's the thing. Like, we can say don't buy it, and it's gonna be like, oh, I want to buy it.
It's gonna be number one. It's gonna be in the top 10 for sure. About it, dude.
Just get your free 3 months.
Hyper TTK in the chat says, I know Grand Theft Auto 5, the Grand Theft Auto 5 map better than I know my own hometown. That's awesome. Well, he plays a lot of Grand Theft Auto. That is hilarious. Listen, folks, we have 30 minutes left of the show before we send you off to enjoy your weekend. Here, it's going to be snowing in New York, which I'm very excited. We're not going to get a lot of snow, unfortunately, because I live in New Rochelle, which is Westchester. It's not all the way in Westchester where they're going to get a foot. We're probably going to get about 3 inches, which sucks. That's tomorrow. So before we send you off into the cold, we got to talk about Jeff Grubb. Now, Jeff Grubb, if you don't know, he is an incredible journalist for GamesBeat. He has the best mane of hair in the business. It is like something from the Samoans from back in the days of the WWE or WWF back in the days. Yeah, remember that?
He's got the Roman Reigns here.
But Jeff is going to be joining me in 2 weeks on a Wednesday, not a Thursday, because our schedules we couldn't get him because he does the Grub Snacks one-on-one for X Vlog episode 5. That on the 23rd, Jeff is going to be joining me, and we're talking about E3 and what to expect from the company. So it's going to be a great conversation. So I hopefully you tune in. But he said a new report comes the way of Jeff, and listen, when Jeff speaks, I listen because not only do I trust him, the guy knows his stuff. Well, Dead Space Remake, and I'm going first to BitCloud because you obviously are a horror dude just like me. Dead Space Remake, they're having a reveal today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and they suggest that you wear a really good pair of headphones. So it's going to be very audio focused. We're going to get an update. Well, according to Jeff, which is pretty interesting, and I just learned this. We were under the impression that EA was aiming for the end of 2022, potentially around Halloween, to release Dead Space. It makes sense. It's a horror game. It's a horror month. That would be awesome. Well, that does not, in fact, look like that's going to be the case anymore. According to Jeff Grubb of GamesBeat, he is reporting that he has information that the target release has now been moved into early next year, first quarter of 2023. That is disappointing, but at the same time, I don't know about you folks, Dead Space is one of my favorite franchises outside of Resident Evil. It's definitely one of my top 5 franchises from the Xbox 360 era. It's listen, if you love horror, nothing beats Dead Space 1. I mean, I remember creeping around corners because I didn't want to get surprised by one of those things grabbing me.
Dude,
BitCloud, what are your thoughts on this, man?
When you reboot the power the first time, you don't have no weapons, and like the
yes,
damn thing just creeps behind your TV.
You have like 5 shots left of your cheap ass gun. Yes.
So good. Such a good game. I'm not surprised that it's delayed though, because we saw it. It was kind of like, it wasn't a rough development or anything like that. We just saw like a few areas that they redid. We did see the dismemberment. They really focused on that.
So good, dude.
Which looks awesome because you can see the bones and tendons being shot off, which I can't wait to see that when it's done, especially on the little, I forgot what they're called, the lurkers. You know, the one with the tail and its arms. Can't wait to see those. Can't wait to see that. Oh no, especially the one thing that we all dread in this game, the regenerator. It's going to be awesome to see them redo the regenerator and just that
he was
scene.
A prick.
Oh my god! Now I just wonder how they're gonna do it, because I'm talking about the mad scientist cultist who kind of like loses his sanity and makes that thing. I'm wondering how they're gonna do that. But the fact that that's next year, personally, it doesn't. I'm not upset about it at all. I'm actually welcoming it because there's been a lot really this year so far. It's perfectly fine for them to push that out there. I just don't want them to rush anything. That's basically what I'm saying. I'd rather them take their time and run at the best possible performance that it can, and we're happy. So that's right.
Yeah, no, dude, I agree. This is, first of all, this is the one remake, BitCloud, that the entire community has been clamoring for.
Yeah,
like if there's one franchise you want to see a remake happen for, this was one of them. So I'm agree with you. Take all the freaking time you need.
Yeah, Visceral Games. What happened with Visceral Games is a complete tragedy. Like,
it's disgusting, but it really they're coming back.
But Callisto Protocol, that's their second. Man, that's their second form of life. So I'm glad they brought this back, because this puts even bigger eyes on Callisto Protocol and what they're going to potentially do. Because you've seen the similarities with like the little HUD on your back, your little health bar thing on your back, stuff like that. There's a lot of similarities. So I'm wondering what they're going to do with that. But that right there is probably going to be the surprise hit from them as Callisto Protocol. This right here, them remaking it and just seeing it in its complete capacity, it's going to be great, because you already know this is going to lead to arguably the best one in the franchise, and that is Dead Space 2. And I can't wait for Dead Space 2 to get a remake. I would love to see that with the ray tracing and all that, with the advanced suit. That will be fantastic.
And here's something that's interesting. I love the audio on the Xbox. I have the
Yeah.
I have the headset. Their headset is well worth every penny. I actually have two. I have the 20th anniversary one. Haven't opened that one. That one's staying in the box, and I
Ooh.
have this one right here. And I use it all the time. It's amazing. But I'm not gonna front here, BitCloud. I might be double dipping for Dead Space
I can see you.
because
I can see you doing
I
it.
have the PlayStation 3D audio. And folks, listen, you hear me talk about Xbox all the time. If there's one thing that Sony got right with this PlayStation 5, it's the bloody audio.
Yeah.
That headset is boss.
It's
Like,
going to be creepy
so
in
good.
this game when you like, especially you go down that particular. I forgot which part of it was like in the game. I think it was early on, but you're not going to do is like banging his head on the wall.
That was around where the frozen lock.
Yeah.
You were like in the frozen area, dude.
It was just creepy. Like, what is he doing?
Goosebumps.
He's banging his head. You just hear these you hear these footsteps. Like, it's going to be crazy to see how they do it, especially when they start creeping around you. I'm guaranteed they're going to make that a big focus because that's what they like to do. The Necromorphs like to sneak behind you. So it's man, I can't wait to play that game. It's fine. I have no problem waiting for it next year. The one thing I am kind of bummed at is what we saw at the State of Play involving one particular game, and it's from Capcom. I saw dinosaurs.
Dude, I wrote you on Twitter. I tagged you on Twitter.
I saw a woman with red hair. I saw dinosaurs. I was like, wait a minute, are you doing the symbolism already with this? And it's like, oh wait, it's not what we want. It's not Dino Crisis, but it's something completely different. Which is fine, but I think they're pulling at the heartstrings with this because they're like showing that we still see value in dinosaurs.
I think everyone that commented on that was like, all we've ever asked for was Dino Crisis, and this is what you're giving us. Destiny meets some wacky anime meets
looks like
Dino Crisis. Don't do that.
Yeah,
I have a strong suspicion that this is not going to do very well when it comes out.
Yep.
And I think what they need to do, at least for the love of Joe, anyone from Capcom, I know you ain't listening to this show. I hear you. It's too small. But if someone who knows somebody that knows a brother or a sister that works at Capcom, relay this message for me and BitCloud. The same team that made Resident Evil 2 Remake, tell them, here is the Dino Crisis license. Here's one. Go crazy. And come back to us in about 2 or 3 years, and you will have warmed our hearts. But do not bring this rubbish. I don't know what was happening. With that game. I know I saw black holes opening up in the sky and dinosaurs pouring out. I was like, yep, I'm checking out.
Kind
of
of like World
this
War
one.
Z. Remember how they were just flying over each other? They weren't really like coming out. I'm like, dude, at this point, this dude with Resident Evil 2 Remake happened, like you just said. I would love to see, like, just imagine that game with the same level and care that Dead
All
Space
I have to say is the
Remake
Tyrannosaurus level.
Yeah.
Where that head is just nipping at you and you're running for your life. I want to see that in next gen graphics with next gen sound.
Dude, they can change the game. Even that scene where it's not gameplay, obviously it's cinematic. But you remember when Cutter, or I think it's Cutter or Carter,
Carter, I think it was
Carter. He separated from us and he gets eaten by the T-Rex. Like, dude, they can really add some terror.
And they can add some gore to it too. You know what? Let us control him, and at the end get eaten. We kind of know what was going to happen. Exactly. That would be kind of dope too. All right, listen. Let's bring in Crispy Bomb. Crispy, Dead Space is a franchise that was left to die, so to speak. No pun intended. 3 came out. I really enjoyed 3 because it made it very action oriented. A lot of people said it took away from what made 1 and 2 great, and I completely understand, and I agree. I beat the series. As a matter of fact, I just recently beat Dead Space 1. I started playing through Dead Space 2 again because of all the excitement and hype. I mean, again, it's not confirmed to be delayed as of yet. They are having a stream today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe you can go right to YouTube and watch that stream. They are suggesting that, of course, that you do wear headphones, good headphones, because it's going to be audio based. But if it has to be delayed to be in the oven a little bit, do you agree with the delay?
I have no problem with delays at this point. I mean, let's be honest. There's some games that should have been delayed. Battlefield. There's a lot more as well. I mean, Boom. A lot of people think Boom's BSing, but I see a lot of people having some issues with Horizon, and it's like, man, like, you gave it a couple more months. I don't know. And you can look at the Halo effect. You give it a whole year, and man, that game looks better. But
listen,
still...
I think it's going to be a fine game. Graphically, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The character stories, the 8 hours that I put into it are freaking amazing. That's not the problem. Guerrilla didn't make a terrible sequel. The problem with the sequel is the fact that there are all of these that's pop in. There are hitboxes. I'm constantly swinging through the dinosaurs and I'm missing. And I'm like, how am I freaking missing? And that's because the hitboxes are broken. The grab boxes when you climb are broken. This is not a console war thing. It's a reality thing.
Yeah, and you know, you have to be honest with yourself. I mean, I've called out many games over my gaming lifespan, and I'm like, dude, like this is just unplayable at this point. That's the thing. Like, you don't want that. They got to take the time. I mean, it seems like they're adding a lot compared to what other games call a remake or remaster. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm always down for dismemberment. It's an interesting concept. I'm going to be watching that one because I've never played any Dead Spaces. So,
dude, I'm jealous.
Yeah, so I'm
actually
going to
jealous.
wait. I'm going to wait.
Especially in this new age, he's going to be really blown away.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've watched, you know, the little snippets we get, and I'm like, man, this is creepy.
It's
like,
creepy AF, dude. For
and
sure,
this is right. Like, me and my girl she's probably gonna watch me play this because she loves horror movies. Like, she's played all the horror games, like, you know, Medium, all these, and she's like, this is not that scary. I'm like, wait till Dead Space comes out. I think you're gonna be like,
boom. Wait till he plays part 2, and when the baby, you know what I'm talking about? Boom, it's like, come to mama, and the baby comes. Wait to get into that stuff.
So good.
Oh, dude, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, and just come out polished, come out, you know, as little bugs as I know games are gonna have bugs, as long as they don't break the game or make you feel like you're hitting your head against the wall. Generally, they can get past it quite quickly and then make something that's, you know, the way it should be. And I hope they just take as much time as they need and don't rush it out there.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Fuzzy, let's get you in on. No, Dreddy, you there, brother? If he stepped away or not.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm just
Dredd, you're alive.
Yeah, he is alive. Dredd, this is a quote directly from Grubb Snacks, which is a show that he does for Giant Bomb once a week. And this is what Grubb had to say. He says, it's now likely coming in 2023, and it's no longer a target. It's targeted for October of 2022. Again, Jeff, he, like all of us, has gotten it wrong. I believe him on this because obviously he wouldn't make this announcement unless he had it on good authority. What are your thoughts on the delay? Is it a big deal for you're just like, you know what, better delayed than it's broken?
Does anybody remember Craig?
Oh, yes.
I'm just saying. I mean, I would have played it anyway, but, you know, sometimes you got to delay it. Just we're getting to that point where we've had too many games come out, not only broken, but horribly broken. You know what I mean? It's like waking up after that drunk fest, and then you're like, oh, I didn't know. Oh. Oof. That was a lot of makeup. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Caked on makeup, no less.
Yeah. And then you wonder why the pillow has a like imprint of facial. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that game to be out there. You don't want to have to sit there. I mean, if they're gonna keep working on the game, and then release the better graphics, the better optimization, the better this, the better that, just don't release it. And then release it when it's ready. I mean, like I said, I would have played Halo, 2 years ago, no problem. But that's because I'm a huge Halo fan, and I'll take it just so I could play it. But at the same time, games like this, they delay it. If it's not ready, just delay it, because a lot of the newcomers aren't gonna just overlook the tiny flaws that it has. A lot of the newcomers are not gonna give it a second chance. You know what I mean? And when all that negative press comes out, it's hard to reverse negative press. Look at No Man's Sky, right? Everybody's like, oh, wow, they've fixed this, they fixed that, they fixed this thing. No. I'm not playing it. I refuse to do it because of the way that the game released. And they're still trying to save face. I don't believe them, and I don't care. I'm not playing it. And this is going to be the same thing. Would it be great to be in October? Yeah, it would. It fits in with that time, but what are you going to do? If the game's not ready, either push it back for another year or push it back until it's absolutely ready, which will... horror games don't need to be in October, because
they can release in Christmas. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
exactly. But that's it could be in January, July. Who cares? As long as it's a good game, it'll do fairly well no matter what.
Yeah.
But that's yet again out the door. It better be a masterpiece, because people are going to criticize it even as a masterpiece. So they just take the time. Let's do it right. Let's get off on a good foot, and let's get fans excited for this, because I'm looking for Fear, and if this doesn't come out right, Fear's definitely not going to come back.
Yes, I agree.
I
love. Listen, at this point, I would just take the trilogy in a HD remake. Because you can go back and view a lot of. They're all backwards compatible. But I would honestly really like an HD version. Give me all the achievements again. Hell, for that matter, Condemned 1 and 2. Yes, I would love a Condemned 1 and 2 remake. That would be kind of dope. But let's continue with Fuzzy. Fuzzy, obviously, I think we're all going to be tuning in at 1 p.m. to see what they have to show for an update to Dead Space. Again, according to Jeff Grubb, it's going to be delayed into 2023. I have zero problems with that, to be honest with you. What are your thoughts on the delay?
Well, we're seeing a lot of games get delayed now, and for the most part,
it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a trend.
It's a good thing in the grand scheme of things, just because we've seen when they don't necessarily get enough time and release with some day one issues or ongoing issues that just seem like they're always playing catch up, whether it be Battlefield or a few others out there. But I it's funny, this whole Dead Space and Callisto Protocol thing. I kind of predicted once Callisto Protocol was announced that we would hear something about a Dead Space, because it almost seemed like, well, EA isn't really going to push anything until somebody kind of, tugs at their heartstrings, and, we might even hear about a fight night or something like that later with ESBC stuff going on. But I'm definitely tuning in at 1. Didn't play the Dead Space games early on, but I do kind of like the horror genre, and I love sci-fi, so the mixture of the two. Definitely looking forward to playing for the first time on these new or next gen consoles. But I just want to hear and see what they're going to show us at 1. We also got Scorn coming out a little bit later this year, which that one also got a little bit of a delay,
October,
a little bit of
I
a
think
different space horror kind of thing, because that one looks more like
Alien.
Yeah, with weird creatures and things. But yeah, I definitely want to see what they have to show us for Dead Space, because the first, I guess, behind the scenes stuff that they showed us like early on, as far as some of the scenery or the imagery that they had for like their storyboards and things like that, was pretty cool, and some of the stuff that they were looking to do. So the dismemberment aspect of it, which a lot of games don't seem to get that right these days, and
they did that really well back in the 360. I loved what I saw, the advancements of it when they showed it off for next gen. Looks freaking crazy.
Yeah. So it's awesome that we're at least going to get some info, so they're not going completely radio silent, but not enthused about the delay, but totally understand it, and would rather have it delayed than them talking about, oh, day one patch, a week later another patch, and a week later another patch. Oh, your saves, they got corrupted. Oh, we're sorry about that. Here's another patch, type of thing. So
yeah,
delays, let them happen, but encouraged to see what they have to show us now, and I'm pretty sure this will keep the buzz going for a good bit longer. And hopefully the devs over at Callisto Protocol do something similar here soon as well, which I'm not sure if they've given a deadline. I was kind of
I think it's supposed to be this year, but again, it wouldn't. There's going to be a lot of games delayed this year, dude. Yeah. We're starting to see it already.
True. So it's hopefully if push comes to shove, maybe Callisto Protocol comes out this year. But if not, totally understand on that as well. But those are two games that are on the list. Although for me, kind of like what Big Cloud was saying, like I'm looking a little bit more forward to, I guess, Callisto Protocol, just because the original devs, but with a new vision and kind of
Yes.
going a little bit beyond what they originally were.
Yeah, there's some
working on
twisted minds over there, so I'm
Yeah.
expecting some real grotesque stuff from Callisto Protocol.
So hopefully, looking forward to 1 o'clock, but also want to hear from those devs as well here soon too.
Yeah, well, they'll confirm today whether or not it's going to be delayed. I mean, they're going to have all the eyes of the world, and they're probably going to come out and say, "Yeah, listen, unfortunately, life, right? It is what it is. We're going to delay it early next year, and we'll be better for it." But Dave, close out today's incredible 4-topic show, 2-hour program. What are your thoughts about the Dead Space event happening today? One, are you tuning in, and will you be disappointed if like Jeff said, they announced the delay until 2023?
I won't be disappointed. I will be watching. I'm a big fan of horror games. I love them. A lot of different horror games I've played and have on my list of games that I enjoy playing. And I do love the Dreadpool's analysis, comparing it to basically a Cowdy Ugly moment if it's not game's not ready to be out. And I kind of agree with that. If it's not ready, of course, do I want a game now? Yeah, I'm ready to play. There's a lot of stuff I'm ready to play right now. Let's go. But in the long run, if it means it's a better game, it's more enjoyable, and it gets better review scores in the long run, then yeah, I say if it takes a delay, whether it's a couple of months or longer, obviously there's a reason they think it needs to be delayed, because they see that it's not exactly up to the standards that they want it to be. So yeah, I'm all for a delay if it's if it benefits the game. If they're just dragging their feet because of a few little things here and there, maybe not. But we won't know that, because obviously we're not privy to that kind of information. But I would definitely say that if there's a reason for it, if they are going to delay it. But I'm really looking forward to it when it does come out. Most definitely. I'm a big fan of horror games. Big fan. So there you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, good stuff as always. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be our show for today. I want to thank everyone that tuned in. Let me just catch up on some of the super chats that have come in. We have a couple of them. Where's my private chat? Here it is. We had one come in from Drawn TJ, drops an additional $10 super chat. Thank you for the generosity there, brother. He says they need to release GTA 6 and Midnight Club. Remember, they had a demo for a reboot of Midnight Club. Midnight Club was dope. And I do remember that demo. I'd love to see a new Midnight Club for sure. Gamer by Choice drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, I'd rather play GTA Online than most any exclusive game. I have more than 300 days in the game. Great show. Holy shit. 300 days. Just, well, do the math, folks. That is 720 hours. Yikes, dude. Good on you that you love that game so much. But listen, let's get to the outros, get everyone out of here so you can start your weekend off. We'll start first with Web Dave, brother. You've been doing killer interviews. Thank you so much for being here. Talk about the next one you have dropping, and let people know where they can check out those interviews and where they can sign up for your YouTube channel.
Thanks, Boom, again for having me on. Great panel. Love the three of you that jumped in. It's awesome. And I tell you this, the web is right now with gaming, it's got so much good content, good people out there, that I really wanted to know more about a lot of these great content providers. There's a lot of people on this panel that I'm reaching out to see about getting some interviews as well, and you really find out a lot of interesting stuff when you watch these specials that I've got going on right now. And you can definitely find an Outbreak podcast if you search that on YouTube. My link's in the description of this show, thanks to Boom. And I've got a lot of good stuff coming. Even got some big names coming as well. And I tell you, the thing is, all these people are interesting, because whether they have a small amount of followers or hundreds and hundreds of thousands, they're people, they're creators, and their journey to get to where we're at now is really, really amazing and definitely worth watching. So thanks, Boom, for the opportunity, and great show again, man.
Ah, well, it's great to have you a part of the program, brother. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us each and every week. Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, tell everyone where they can check out your incredible racing channel, because that's really what it comes down to. And there's no one more qualified to talk about racing games than you are. Tell everyone about your YouTube channel and where could people potentially reach out to you on social media.
Well, I want to start off by thanking you guys for having me on today. And man, awesome panel, awesome chat, and awesome topics today. It was just so great getting to talk
We got
about
4
all these.
topics in, dude. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah. And man, some awesome games coming around the corner. So and in the meantime, I'm playing a lot of racing stuff. So for anybody that wants to hear me ramble about racing games, whether it be Forza or Gran Turismo, you can hit me up on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere, my YouTube, also fuzzy_Belvedere, where I'm posting a couple of tips and things like that. People were asking about how to tint windows in Gran Turismo, so I did a little quick clip on Twitter to show them, you know, the quick and dirty version on how to do it. But man, awesome being here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for everyone that came out and listened to us, and for those that listen in later. But man, so grateful to be here.
Well, great to have you, brother. Crispy Bomb, by all means, sell your brand. Where else could people listen to the best voice in the business, and where could people reach out to you on social media?
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Shout out to the chat. Great conversations today at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. We got Retro Renegades Tuesday night, 7 p.m. The next podcast, 8 p.m. Thursday. And of course, back here on Breakfast with Boom Friday, 10 a.m.
Thank you for that. Short and sweet and to the point. Love that. Dreadpool. Tell everyone about Breaking Bread with Dread. Where could they listen to that program? Where can they subscribe to your YouTube channel? And more importantly, reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media.
Yes, Breaking Bread with Dread is on Anchor.fm, which also goes out to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. But most importantly, thanks to the panel for showing up. And thank you guys in chat for making this happen. Because if it wasn't for you, we'd be just talking to ourselves.
That is
which would
very
be fine.
True.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that anyway. But you guys get to interact and listen to us, so it's awesome. But yes, that's where you would find my my Breaking Bread with Dread section. I'm still trying to work on bringing it back over to YouTube, and sometimes once in a blue moon, out of nowhere, it'll be live on air on YouTube, as long as my PC doesn't shut down and all that fun stuff. So you never know, it'll just pop up. So look for it. But if you look at linktree.com/Dreadpool, all letters, all caps, it's got the links to everything. So you just look it up there. It's got the Twitter, the TikToks, and the Hubob and the Didong, the whatever. Yeah, so wherever you want to look, just Dreadpool. Sometimes it's zeros because some other idiot decided to take my name.
That's crummy, man.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely check it out. Wednesday nights, Gaming Beyond the Box. And then we also have interviews with Husk on the same channel. We do little skits, which we've been on a little hiatus right now, but you know, with everything going on, we'll be getting those skits back in again soon.
Nice.
And like I said, we do the interviews. We just had Gaz on this last one, and I forgot who it was. Who's the next one? God, I can't believe this is so embarrassing. Everborn Saga. We all know
nice.
him.
That's good.
He's going to be our next
Love
one.
Everborn.
Yes. So definitely check out for that one. And again, thank you guys.
No problem, brother. Well, thank you for being here. And last and no least, Big Cloud Gaming, brother. I know you got something happening today in the afternoon. Talk about it. Where could people reach out to you on social media? But more importantly, continue your trek and growth on YouTube.
Yeah, so apologies for me being late. I'm going to have to tell you guys off here who I was talking to, and it's what took up my time. But today on the channel, I'll be interviewing Mickey James from
WWE, right?
So it's going to be an awesome interview today. It's 5 p.m. EST, my channel, Big Cloud Gaming, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. And yeah, you guys want to join us, come on through. It's going to be fun. We also have RGT85 joining us, so it's going to be a
nice, dude.
Hell of a show. It's going to be real laid back, and we're just going to have fun.
Yeah, well, that's going to be a great interview, brother. Congratulations on another
Thank you.
big get. You continue to knock it out of the park, and why wouldn't you? Because you are a paraprofessional. But listen, folks, thank you so much for being here. A big shout out to the entire chat. We had 300 and plus people. I think we topped out at 338 watching live. That's big. This is still small. We're 10K, but we're still a small channel compared to most. And to have that many people here each and every week is incredibly humbling and greatly appreciated. Of course, I'm going to close out today's show. Oh, no, before I even do that, thank you to the super chats that continue to come in. Those help power the show with new equipment, with new overlays, with new intros, with giveaways. Without that, we can't do all those things because remember, I'm just a retired dude and it's just one check coming in. So I got to be frugal with the money. And, these gifts that you guys give us each and every week that we do these shows do provide an ability to do giveaways, and we have a couple of big ones coming up. So thank you so much for that. And of course, everyone that is and potentially will be a channel member, big thank you for that as well. Of course, I'm going to close out today's show with something that is important to me, folks. Hopefully one day will be important to you. And that's something that my dad told us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules. And I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.